Hey everybody, how's it going? Steve here, and I know that you usually expect an unboxing when I'm set up like this, but today I'm going to show you how to use your Switch Lite as a secondary console. So I've got my Switch V2 over here, and my brand new Switch Lite here as well, and I'm going to show you what you can do to use this as a secondary machine. There are two different methods for this. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first and arguably the easier one, which I call the account sharing method. So it's pretty simple. All you have to do is on your Switch Lite, you're going to tie your account to an existing Nintendo account. So I've got one here where I have not yet linked a Nintendo account. So when I look at the user, I'm going to choose link Nintendo account, and then I'm going to go through the process of logging in with my Nintendo ID. In this case, I'm using my Japanese account, which I've used for just a few other things. It's different from my main account, so it doesn't have as much data, which means it won't take me as much time to get into this. And just like that, we select link, and we are signed in. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. Oh, there we go. Now we're signed in. So we've got our account there, and we're going to go ahead and take a look. So I'll show you what this means now that we've got the account sharing method set up as much as it needs to be. I'm going to show you what that means. So if we go to the eShop and I choose my newly linked Nintendo account here, I have no problems accessing it. It doesn't ask me for anything different than it normally would. And so because this is a Japanese account, it gave me that error, just indicating that the eShop will be in Japanese, which is different from this Switch's default of English, of course. That's not a standard error that you'd see. This is only if you're using an eShop from a foreign country, and it's only the first time you use it. Alright, and here we go. Now that we're in the eShop, we're going to go ahead and just look at myself here, and we are going to get my download games. So right here I can see I've got my copy of Super Mario Odyssey, and I've got my copy of Hyrule Warriors DX, so I'm going to download those, and I'm going to show you what we do with them. Okay, and the next thing we've got to do is transfer our saved data. So if we look, we can hit the plus button, we can choose Save Data Cloud, and take a look at any of our games to see if we can find our saves. So right here you'll see that I can choose to back up what I have on the console, or I can download what I have in the cloud. So all you do is you choose to download your saved data, and it will warn you in the case that you already have something and you have to consciously select to overwrite it, so it's not an easy process if you have something already there. But this is the key to using the method, so you'll want to do this for every game you have on your original Switch if you want to transfer the data back down to your Switch Lite. So this process is generally pretty fast. This is 106 megabytes of data, and it's going pretty quick, so it doesn't take a lot of time to do this, and most saves aren't quite this large, but Smash Ultimate does store quite a lot of data. Once you've synced it to your console, you can back all the way out. I choose to keep automatic save backups off on my Lite so that I can choose when to sync them back to the cloud and then when to pull them back in. And to do the same, you would just follow the same steps here. If there was a game you needed to back up, you can hit plus and you can choose the same option, Save Data Cloud, and you can choose one of your games and select to upload that. For some reason it's grayed out for me on Link's Awakening, but we'll go ahead and try. Here we go. So if I choose Save Data Cloud here, I can select my game, and I'll get my option here at some point to back it up. Okay, so after a brief cut, we're back, and you can see you have the option to back up your save data. This is what you'd want to do on your original Switch if you want to sync it up. you would choose to back up to the cloud, and this is a really small file at 16 megabytes, so the upload happens pretty instantaneously, and we can see down here that it says it's backed up. So on our Lite, we would hit plus, and we would choose Save Data Cloud and select the account we want to work with, and then we'll see we have the option to download that saved data here. And again, we're getting prompted to overwrite because I did play a little bit of Goose Game on my Switch Lite for the review. And there we go. Instantaneously, we've got our data. So now our Goose Game saves are in sync on both Switch consoles because we've synced them to and from the cloud. So there are a few games that you can't transfer data for via Nintendo Switch Online, and that's because Nintendo has decided that cheaters will run the internet with this or destroy the Switch ecosystem by hacking their Pokemon saves or their Splatoon 2 saves, and thus they have disallowed people from using Nintendo Switch Online to back these up for fear of cheating, and it seems just like the silliest thing in the world to me. So we're going to System Settings and Data Management, and we're going to choose Transfer Your Save Data, and you can choose to send save data to another console. I'm going to use mine. And I'm going to do the same over here on the Lite. I'm going to choose System Settings. I'm going to go down to Data Management, and I'm going to choose Transfer Your Save Data, but on here I'm choosing Receive Data, and we're going to choose to transfer over, let's just say, let's choose one of the games that we definitely can't normally do. So we got to go to Splatoon 2. I'll choose Splatoon 2. And we'll choose Send Save Data. And you can see that it's kind of waiting here, and my Switch Lite is waiting to detect that I've done this. So here we go, and it says receiving. And we can see the progress bar is already full, and there we go. Now what this does mean is that I can no longer continue my Splatoon 2 progress on this console. It deletes the save from the original Switch. So now I've got my Splatoon 2 data here and only here. Now, the thing we want to remember here is that your Switch does need to authenticate if you're using it as a secondary console. So when I start any game that I own, I'm going to be subject to this quick check where it sees if I can play this game. That's actually phoning home to Nintendo's servers to see if this Switch, the original, is currently online and playing anything, and if it is, I'll be unable to play. So the caveat to this method is that I have to authenticate to play this game online every single time, and once I start a game, I'm able to play it for 3 hours, but I do have to be online at the very start. If I try to start the game in airplane mode, I get an error saying that I need to turn airplane mode off in order to play. So if you are using this method, you need to make sure you have access to Wi-Fi pretty much at all times, because you won't be able to freely switch between games. You'll be stuck on the game you were on until you're able to get back on Wi-Fi and authenticate again. So this method is only useful if the Switch Lite is going to be, if you're going to be taking it places where you have decent access to the internet. If you don't have that internet access, you won't be able to authenticate against Nintendo's servers, and thus you won't be able to play your games, or at least your digital games. It's really worth mentioning that card-based games or physical games are not subject to this limitation. You don't need to authenticate to Nintendo Switch Online in order to play physical copies. So if you are a physical game collector, you're in the clear. You don't really need to worry about which Switch is authorized to play, because they both are, since those physical games don't do this type of check-in. Once we turn off airplane mode, we get a quick check, just making sure that we are able to connect, and you'll see that that takes a second and jumps right in. Now, let's go ahead and use this moment to discuss the second method by which you can use your Switch Lite, and that's by kind of flipping the script, and instead of doing account sharing, we're going to take our Switch Lite and make that our primary console. Now, you may be asking, why would we want to do that if we're going to be playing mainly on the OG Switch when we're at home? And that's because your original Switch will probably stay within range of your home internet. You'll have online access. So If this one stays within range of your Wi-Fi or has constant internet connectivity, then it doesn't really matter if it has to check in, does it? Whereas this one, if you make it your primary, you can take it on the road without worrying about losing access to your collection of digital games. So to do that, you actually have to go to the eShop, and I'm going to show you exactly where you do that. We're going to do it on both consoles here. So we're going to take my Japanese account that I showed you earlier, and we're going to log in, or actually, we're going to take my main account, and we're going to go into the eShop. And once you're in the eShop, you need to click on your user icon. And once you're on your user icon, you're going to go ahead and scroll down through your settings and find your primary console. And you can see that right here, I've got this console registered as my primary. If I do the same on my Switch Lite, you're going to see that that option to deregister is grayed out because this is not my primary. So I'll show you what that looks like. We're going to deregister. We're going to deregister my console, and it says, are you sure you want to deregister this console? If this console is deregistered, this console will require an active internet connection to play downloaded software or downloadable content purchased with this Nintendo account. I'm going to go ahead and accept that risk and tell it I no longer want this as my main account. So now that we've got that, we're going to go ahead and get out of there, and we're going to make my Lite my primary console and see what the changes are. So according to Nintendo, once you access the eShop on an account after you've deregistered your primary console, it should automatically make that console your new primary. So that about wraps it up for our little bit of information on how to use your Switch Lite as a secondary console, or maybe as your primary if that's how you're feeling. I hope you liked this quick peek, and as always, make sure to subscribe to Game Explained for all things Nintendo Switch and other things gaming as well. I'll catch you next time. Bye.